This is part 4 of the lecture on chapter 10. So here we discuss this multiplier effect. See, multiplier effect. So this effect relates the change in real GDP that we will get in the end because of an initial change in spending. At this stage of the development of the model, spending means autonomous consumption and investment, right? So a multiplier effect will show us will a change in spending changes real GDP more than the initial change in spending, right? So we will show you that if spending like investment increases by $5 billion, and if MPC is zero point 0.8, then the final increase in GDP, the total increase in GDP as a result of these changes, initial changes, will be $20 billion. We will show you with example and numbers soon, right? And then if the when this is done, the multiplier is defined as what? As a change in real GDP divided by initial change in spending. So how much will real GDP change for every $1 change in spending, initial change in spending? That is the ratio, and that multiplier shows us that ratio. So if we rearrange this equation, we can get this change in GDP then must be equal to multiplier times initial change in spending. So let us discuss, look at that. So suppose there is an initial increase, $5 billion increase in investment, and so people, contractors who are working on that investment project, their change in income is 5 billion, right? And out of that, their MPC is 0.75, so they will consume 3.75, which is 75% of this 5 billion, and then save the rest, right? Now this 3.75 that is consumed, that becomes income for producers on whose goods and services this was used, right? 3.75. So this becomes income is in the second round for the producer of those goods and services. And so this in the second round, this is the change in income, and out of this increase in income, we know that MPC is 0.75, right? So 75% will be consumed, 2.81, the remaining 0.94 will be saved, right? Then this 2.81, then when it is consumed, this becomes the income for the producers on whose goods and services it was spent, right? And then that is the increase in income for the third round. And then we already know how to get 2.11, which is 75% of that 2.81, right? You can just find it. 2.81 multiplied by 0.75 will give you 2.11. So this, when change in income is 2.81, given that MPC is 0.75, change in consumption will be 2.11, and the rest of this change in income of 2.81, which is 0.70, will be saved, right? Okay, now this is what they show in this step-by-step look. In the first round, income increases $5, then income increases $3.75. Then what? Then income increases 2.81. So it is like a ripple effect, right? If there is a pond and surface of the water is still on the pond, right? But if you throw a stone in the middle of the water, it will create a ripple effect that start at the point where the stone enters the water, still surface of the water, and then spread out all throughout the pond. So it is like that. And ultimately, all together, or when you count all these changes together, it will be what? It will be $20, right? Given MPC is 0.75, then a $5 initial increase in income will result in an increase in GDP of $20. And then out of $15 is increase in consumption, $5 is change in savings. So add 15 and 5, you get 20, and Now we can do higher algebra and we can show you that there is another way to measure MPC is measure multiplier, which is 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. See, so or we can show that multiplier is equal to 1 divided by MPS, marginal propensity to save. Right? We know that MPC plus MPS equal to 1, therefore 1 minus MPC is MPS. So now look at that, the MPC, the higher the MPC of a economy, the higher the MPC of an economy, the higher will be the multiplier effect. On the other hand, here, higher the MPS of an economy, the lower will be the multiplier effect, right? So large MPC result in larger increase in spending. As a result, larger change in income in the end. On the other hand, a smaller MPC will cause what? A smaller change in consumption when income increases. So the end result, change in income will also be small. And alternately, multiplier and MPS, they are inversely related, right? When MPS increases, look at that MPS on the right hand side in the denominator. If this MPS increases, multiplier will decrease, vice versa. So they're inversely related, right? Okay. So this here we give when MP is equal to zero point 0.9, you can put it in the equation here 0.9, 1 minus 0.9, 0.1. So 1 divided by 0.1 will be 10. So if MPC 0.9, multiplier will be 10. MPC 0.8, multiplier will be what? 5. So let us take a moment and see what it means. It means that when multiplier is 5, that means that for $1 increase in initial investment, initial spending will result in a GDP in the GDP increase of 5 times the original increase in spending and investment. So if in spending investment increased by 5 billion and MPS is MPC is zero point 0.8, then increase will be what? How much? 5 times more. Initially it was $5 billion, we said, increase in investment. So 5 times more will be $25 billion, right? But in the example that we have shown you here, that corresponds to MPC of 0.75, where a multiplier was what? 4 times more. So as a result here, initial increases in 5 and ultimate increase is 4 times stronger, right? Multiplier 4. So 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. So that is what we get in here, 20, right? Okay. Now, what is the actual multiplier effect? Actual multiplier is lower than the model assumes, right? In real life, the true multiplier, there are some factors, and because of those, the true multiplier is not as big as the model assumes. So one reason is that consumers buy imported products. So part of that consumption, this expenditure will end up in the hand of the foreigners. So it will not become income of the domestic producer. So it will not play a role in increasing GDP. It will increase the GDP of the foreign country. So local home country is GDP will not change, and also households pay income taxes. So when they hand over part of their money to the government, so then they cannot spend. So even if their income increases, the amount they spend will fall when the people have to pay taxes, right? Then there is also inflation. Because of inflation, there is a decrease in purchasing power. As a result, even if people spend more money, the purchase of goods and services now will not be high. So income of the producers of those goods and services will not be so high, right, in real terms. So many people say that in real life, because of these factors, these imported products, these taxes or inflation, multiplier may be 0. Okay, this is the last slide. This is an example. I leave this last slide up to you to review. Now please go and do the end of chapter problems. Look at that video and solve those problems. Thank you.